Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the final instalment of this series of I Got Burnt at 21. So this one, there's one last little thing to say and a few bits. So as I've said from the very beginning, if you need to start at the beginning before watching any of the rest of these videos. So other than that, I don't need to say anything in this. There is nothing bad or gory in this at all. So I left you, basically I'm home with my parents and I'm rehabilitating really well. It's gone really well. So I sat in the conservatory at my parents' house looking out over the valley, and at the bottom of the valley there's a river and like a big flat bank, and then a high built up mud pathway goes along it. So when the tide comes up, it doesn't rush into the fields. So obviously, because the tide does go up to here, there's loads of driftwood and rubbish just sat there. And this day, it was a beautiful day, and some kids, lads, had built a little fire in this driftwood. And they put it out and walked off. And we were sat in there, and I was looking, and you could see the smoke from where they put it out was starting to get bigger. And then more smoke, then poof, flames. So at the end of this bit of the riverbank, there's this huge woods. And I just thought, if that actually takes, because there's so much driftwood, that stuff burns crazy. It's going to go straight to those woods, and we can't have that. So I said to Mum, we've got to do something about this. So I got up and I went next door, knocked on the door, and there's a couple of lads that lived there, a bit older than I was at the time. One was in. I said, we got to go over there and try and put that out. And he's like, yeah. So we grabbed some shovels to go and beat it out and drag all the burning wood and just flick it into the river. Basically, that's the easiest way to do it before it, really took hold. So obviously I can't run, but we kind of fast walked over there, went over the railway bridge, and we got to the fire, and it really had taken hold, to be fair. And it had gone up all the dry grass onto the top of the walkway. It was starting to really spread along the riverbank. And I was like, from the few minutes it had taken me to go next door, get my mate, and then get down there, it had really taken hold. So anyway, we get to it. He kind of run over the bank, run and come up the opposite side. So we're both either side of the fire, and we were both shoveling all the dry firewood into the river. So when it got to it, it had nowhere to go. And then we were trying to get rid of the flames, put them out, flick it into the river, and then beat it out on the grass on the bank. So I ended up kind of getting inside the flames. So I'd put a bit out and flicked a load out, and I was trying to get the wood on the inside. So the fire's circling me. And I was in there, and I was flicking all this dry wood into the river. And I looked around myself at all these flames, and I thought, this actually doesn't bother me in the slightest. Considering only a month or two ago I'd just been literally burnt alive, I'm now stood in the middle of more flames and I'm perfectly comfortable. I'm not bothered, I'm not scared, I'm not having flashbacks. It was completely surreal, to be fair, and I just got on with it, and we managed to put it out. And we kind of kept going, to be fair. We flicked all the burning wood that we could do into the river, and then we went along and scraped the grass. We put all the flames out, but then we scraped all the grass around it. So even if it kind of did come back, it couldn't go anywhere. Yeah, and on the walk back, funnily enough, he turned to me and goes, "That didn't bother you then?" I was like, no, weirdly, it didn't bother me in the slightest. So anyway, we got back up and I went back and sat with my mum. And, we was talking about it. And that's when I realised, through all of this process, through all of this nightmare scenario, from the start to the finish, and all that time in hospital, and the time rehabilitating afterwards, which I still was, but, the fresh rehabilitation, I'd never had a single nightmare, a single bad thought, other than, ow, this hurts kind of situation. But it didn't traumatise me. I wasn't constantly being scared of flames and worrying if something's going to happen, or not at all. Not at all. And still to this day, it just doesn't bother me. And I've never had a single nightmare or anything like that about that situation. Now, I'm not saying, you know, I'm amazing and blah, blah, blah. It's not that at all. I just saw it for what it was. It was an accident. It was a very, very bad accident. And everything that happened at the hospital, although horrific and really bad and really painful and really upsetting, was what it was. You know, I couldn't change it. I had to roll with it. And that is it. There's no point in dwelling on it. There's no point in getting all upset and, oh, it happened to me and why is it, you know. I took from what happened, I realised that I needed to change myself, and I realised I wanted to do better by myself and my family and my friends. And as far as I'm concerned, that's what I've tried to do for every minute of every day since that day. The day I left that hospital, that is who I've tried to be, a better version of me. And I'm sure I've failed along the way, and I'm sure I've succeeded in other ways. And that's the main thing for all of this. And this is the whole thing for this entire video set, is adversity is there for a reason. And a phrase my mother always said to me, and it's so true, is nothing worth having is easy. And nothing comes for free. So, you know, whether it's working hard, whether it's, you know, training hard, if you're that into that, nothing, you'll never do anything easily. And if it's easy, then is it really worth having? You know, if you've got to struggle, it is a struggle. Life is a struggle. And yeah, it took a lot for me to realise. And now I do realise it, and I try my best to do what I do with my family, my friends, and try to be a better person and help people whenever I can. And you know, that is what this is all about. You know, I don't want to waffle on too much, and I do apologise if you feel I have, but this is where this ends. I know, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope somewhere through it you've enjoyed it. And I hope maybe I've touched some people, you know, and they've kind of got into or get involved with what's happened to me, and because that's what this is all about. It's sharing it, and I don't want to upset anyone. I didn't want to, you know, I'm not trying to put anyone down. Hence, I've not used names or anything like that, because I'm not digging at certain individuals. But these things did happen, and you know, and they made my life hard for a while. But other than that one person, I would never take this back. So, you know, that's it really. So I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope it's touched you, and like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you on the next video. Cheers guys.